Oh, have you been subject to any further abuses of power, intimidation attempts?
Not really. I mean, obviously things didn't end well between me and Twitter at the end of the Twitter
Yeah,
files
actually, I
story.
meant to ask you about that while we were still on YouTube too. I saw that. What happened there? And can you also, Matt, address? I've seen criticisms from some people about how like there were, I don't know if you call them promises, but there were intimations that we were going to see primary source material, and that seemed to have never happened. Was that ever promised?
Primary source material?
Yeah, that's what I've seen people say. Like we would see the actual. Yeah, because you were showing stuff, but like in context, maybe where it came from. Maybe that's what maybe that's what people were criticizing. I don't know.
No, I mean, there was talk. There were some calls by some
Instead of
people.
just excerpts, you
Yeah,
know.
I mean, we tried to publish, um, sort of long strings when appropriate.
Mhm.
Just so you know, the basic strategy of the Twitter file stories was to try to stay ahead of the news cycle, and we did that by uh, identifying things that were self-contained news stories in the documents. So most of the times, we were looking at a story that maybe had 10 to 15 documents that were relevant, and we'd usually show them all or most of them, that were relevant to that particular issue. We didn't leave out context that on any story that would have changed the tenor of the story. Like, so for instance, I didn't have documents that said Donald Trump was sending huge amounts of requests or even any requests to to Twitter's trust and safety department. I had heard that he sent some and reported that, but I didn't have stuff like that. So it was most of the time we were going for quick hits that were easy and understandable. And the whole issue of there's thousands of documents there. If we had put them all out at once, I'm not sure that people would have understood. It would have been harder to get some meaning out of it at first. But that material will make its way to the public eventually.
Okay, yes, and tell us what happened with you and Twitter.
Yeah, so Twitter was having a dispute with Substack where I publish, and they decided to sort of slow down links to Substack and do all kinds of things that were tremendously harmful to my business personally. And I went to Elon about that and said, "What do you want me to do about this?" And he said, "Well, you should come over to Twitter Subs." And I kind of bristled at the idea that I should quit my job. And I also said that if I did that, that would undermine the Twitter files reporting, because people would say that we had a financial relationship, and we can't do that. He didn't see it that way. He saw, me staying with Substack as being an affront and an effort to join in the effort to kill Twitter. That's the way he put it. So he got very angry, and that's how it ended. So
Wow.
yeah, it was odd. There were a couple of us who were in that boat. Let's put it that way.
It sounds like, did he like think he was your boss?
Well, I mean, it's confusing, right? I mean, it certainly isn't a traditional source journalist relationship, as hard as we tried to keep it that way. It was unusual. And it was fraught with all kinds of weird ethical situations that probably had never come up before. But it lasted for quite a while. It went on for 3.5 months or so, and we got lots of documents out of it. So I think on balance, it was a net plus.